Welcome to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? Success in business most often comes down to hard work, not by silver bullets and quick fixes. It's knowing where to focus that hard work that's key to winning. Join sales prospecting expert and 3-time seven-figure business founder Carrie Richardson and managing partner of R&R Consulting and former owner of Doberman Technologies, Ian Richardson, for radical honesty regarding strategic planning, accountability, and execution that will get you the systematic results you're working toward. Let's get into today's episode. Thought leader and your host, Carrie Richardson.
Hey, Nate, how are you?
Doing great, Carrie. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. He's the CEO of TechPro Marketing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, for us on our website, we've got a form, why you're reaching out. We've got a strategy call form, what they're interested in. They talk to our chat agent as well. And what we've seen is just most of the market right now with MSPs, they are concerned about their website. So even though I've been working with MSPs for the last 7 years doing their marketing, and there's so many things we do, 7 years later, website is a really hot topic for MSPs. I don't know if it's because there's just so much in the digital marketing zeitgeist about websites and it's still such a popular topic, but they are important. Over the past 6 months or so, we did a deep dive into all the Google Analytics. We're managing over 112 MSP websites right now, all across North America and every major city you can think of in rural areas. And we wanted to figure out, we know best practices, okay? We know what we've read in terms of what works. We know anecdotally, inside our company, hey, these guys are doing good. This must be working with their website. But we had never done an in-depth study. So for the last half of this year, we did a study of these 112 websites. We looked at things like conversion. We looked at things like website traffic, who's getting leads, where the lead's coming from, what pages are they visiting. That's one of the things we're going to do. If you don't have a website yet, we've got amazing website templates that we've built based off of these best practices that we figured out in our study. If you do have a website, we can just optimize your existing website and integrate these things. And then we'll be doing continual website updates. We actually have our own marketing automation system that we built out. So I think one of the most important things, and it was really inspired by Ian with the MSP sales process, what we're trying to do with ours is a little bit before that. So if you get a lead in from the website, how do you get them to go to that meeting? How do you have your Calendly set up? How do you have your scheduling set up? What emails are they going to receive? Are you going to send a text message? I know B2Bs are scared to send a text in marketing, but this is a little tactic that we can try. So all this type of stuff about going from lead to meeting, going from website visitor to meeting.
Great. So your topic today is how to generate leads from your website. So I expect that there'll be some of that advice shared right now.
Totally. I think for number one thing, and this surprised me as well, I don't know when website live chat started becoming popular. I can remember it about 6 or 7 years ago. I had some clients coming up to me saying, hey, can we install a chat bot on our website and things like that? And at first, I don't know, maybe I was dismissive of new technology and I didn't embrace it on day one. And maybe our first year doing it, we were trying it, but we weren't getting amazing results. And about a year into experimenting with different chats, I can 100% tell you about 20 to 25% of their leads that come from our websites that are MSPs, they're coming from the live chat agent. I don't know if that necessarily means they wouldn't have filled out a form, but I have a hunch, my qualitative sense here is that, yeah, a lot of these people wouldn't have filled out a form if we didn't have a great live chat agent on the website. So some of the features of a great live chat agent, and this is why I just want to start with this. This is super easy, you guys. So if you're an MSP and you have a website, you can add a live chat feature pretty easily. There's a company called Talk.to, TAWK.to. It's a free live chat agent. You install the app on your phone and you're the agent, but you can get this live chat. And there's AI chat agents as well. I think that is a potential option. It's probably better than if you're not going to man the chat yourself. But what we found is we actually built out a system where for our clients, we've got a dedicated live chat agent. that's there. And we're doing 112. So we can have one dedicated person that just manages all that. For an MSP on your own, maybe you do have somebody who's always on that. But I think what we found is that having a live person on the other end of the chat that knows what they're talking about, that can answer, because you know what, like the number one question we get is from these chat agents, are you a real person? And when we can respond back, yes, I'm a real person. Let me help you get scheduled with our CEO. Let me help you get you on the calendar. That helps so much. I think the other thing about the live chat agent that you want to set up is I've seen a lot of prompts like, hi, I'm here if you have a question. That's fine. But really, I think the key, maybe the turning point for us to getting results from live chat is having a pointed question. So if you go onto one of our clients' websites, you'll see a chat kind of pop up in the corner. It says, hi, my name is this person. I'm from this company. Are you currently working with an IT provider? Right? Some of these basic questions. So I know, Carrie, in your days in Managed Sales Pros, you weren't like calling them up and say, hey, do you want to switch to our MSP? You would start with some of these identification questions. How many computer users do you have? Do you work with an MSP? Do you handle it in-house? These types of questions are great to start a conversation, right? So that's, I think, just probably like easy step one. It doesn't even involve editing your website. It just involves like adding a code and then configuring it for your chat agent. I think this is like number one, easiest thing you can do to generate more leads. And that's where I would start for any MSP.
So chatbots. Don't text me, by the way, anybody ever, please.
Yeah.
I think it's a very polarizing, like texting can be very like, some people love it, some people don't. But we do have some questions for you. If you could make only one change to help an MSP generate more leads from their website, what would it be?
Yeah, so that's it. Install a live agent chat, have a good opening prompt, not just, hi, do you have any questions? Have a good prompt. Can I help you get a price quote started? Are you a current customer or not? And make sure that someone is actually monitoring it and that they can answer the question, not within 3 minutes, but they can be there to answer within 15 seconds and really get a conversation, get them booked. So that's number one.
So how do you structure that, Nate? Just from a curiosity standpoint, if you're going to set up a B2B chatbot, and let's assume that people DIY it.
Yeah.
What happens if somebody puts a message in there that nobody responds to? Like, how do you make sure that there's always someone available?
Yeah, I think that's where we went wrong with our first year of it, is we tried to do it in-house and just keep it within the MSP. And it's, hey, I think you've been working with a lot of MSPs. You're married to a former MSP owner, and sometimes they're not going to respond right away. And I tried coaching them. That was like my thing early on. I was like, I'm going to get it set up. You got the app on your phone. You ready to respond? And then we'd get the leads in. We'd see it. They weren't responding. Right. And we're like, oh my gosh. So I think having a dedicated agent, pay a little more, sign up for one of these agent services. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is don't try to do it on your own unless you really have the staff and the system set up correctly. Another thing is you can set up a little bit of a chat tree. So one thing that helps for us is we notice that it's not every MSP, but some MSPs, their current clients go to the website to get support. A lot of MSPs, they've got something set up. You like double click on an app in the corner, or they know to call or something. But some MSPs, they go to the website to get that support, and they'll go to the chat asking for support. So you set up a little tree. Your opening question might be, hey, thanks for visiting. Are you a current client? Yes or no? If it says yes, then it says, great, let me direct you to our support. Please call this number to submit a support ticket. If they say no, they say, great, can I have the name of your company? Right, and just start collecting that information.
So you create a decision tree at the beginning that can segment and deliver people to the right places.
And a lot of these tools might have an instant callback feature. So it could be something like this, where if you're using a bot, I recommend using an agent. I think it's like a little bit slight terminology. I just like to be clear, refer to it as an agent, because I think it's best to have a real person there. But you can set it up where once they put in their phone number, it can call you and you'll answer, and they'll say, yeah, this is from the chat. It's a recording. This is from the chat system. You've got a new chatter. Would you like to be connected? Then it'll three-way dial that person. So I think that's another great tool that you can do, as long as you set up your chat scripts correctly. Okay, great. I'm going to have someone reach out as soon as possible. And then you call back within 10 seconds. That's super fast. And I think that's very impressive, especially if your prospect is working with an MSP that their big frustration is they haven't been responded to quickly. So I think like for every business, we want to be responding back quickly. I think for MSPs in particular, using a callback feature, a quick callback feature, or making sure you have a real live agent there can be so impressive and can honestly win the deal for you, because they'll be like, hey, you know what? You had me at, as soon as I put in my phone number, you called me, because I haven't been getting that with my current guys.
So what else are you seeing on websites right now that are helping or hurting managed service providers?
So there's like a concept of a horizontal sales letter or a vertical sales letter. And this is basically where you put the content on your website. And if you've read a book called Story Brand, I think a lot of people have read that book with Donald Miller. He goes a lot into the different types of sections that would go into this type of website sales letter. And a horizontal means that you're putting the content on different pages. Vertical means that your homepage is going to have the core of the meat of your offer of what you're trying to accomplish. So what we've found is that the websites that invest more into the homepage have a longer storytelling homepage, as opposed to using their homepage as like an entryway or gateway. They get better results. Another thing, I got a report right here. Another thing is that, actually stuffing the top of the homepage with more content works better. I know a lot of us love minimalist designs and we want it to be like cool and sleek and modern looking. But what we've actually found is if you can get more of your content that, what we call proof points, right? Some credibility for your MSP, showing how many Google reviews you have. If you can have that all above the fold on your homepage, that makes it so much easier for your visitor to decide whether they're going to stay on that page or not. So I recommend stuffing the top of the page with more content. What we found is the average visitor, and this is not necessarily everybody is a prospect, everybody's a lead, but the average visitor stays on an MSP's website for only 40 seconds.
Wow.
So if you've got 40 seconds to hook them, really get that top of the page done. So minimalist design looks cool, but I think especially if you have super cold traffic and people don't know who you are, they just did a search for MSP near me and they landed on your website, you want to be super clear and pack as much information into the top of your page as you can.
And is anybody searching for MSP near me, or are they searching for other terms?
Yeah, they are. So I think when you've got maybe 3 major categories of search terms. You've got MSP, IT services, IT support, including in those managed services provider. Those are all searched for depending on different companies. They just have different terms for it. I think another one is help desk. Some of the businesses out there view it as a help desk. But the thing is, then you've got these different modifiers on top of it. So near me, that's something you would add at the end of it. I actually believe that is the highest buying intent based off my data. If someone types in near me, that's telling you that they're potentially a buyer. City name is another good one, but city name could be they're trying to sell you or they're trying to buy from you. Usually near me is like the most highest buying intent. So I do recommend, if you're reverse engineering your search engines, try to get into those near me based keywords. Works really well.
Cool. And you mentioned above the fold. For those of us who may not be as familiar with terminology, explain what part of that site, what part of the website that is. And one other question is, how does that translate to viewing on mobile or viewing on different sized screens?
So I worked at my college newspaper. I was in the graphic design department there, and we had to really focus on above the fold content in a newspaper. The newspapers get folded. You can see the top half of it. That's where the above the fold comes from. In websites, it really means you'd call it your hero area, but it's that first section that you see on the homepage of the website. It can be called above the fold content. It could be called your website hero, just your main section, top section of it. I think in general, this is something else we found through Google Analytics, is desktop is going to be your major device. So this is a B2B sale. People are doing it from their desktop computers. They're not necessarily doing it from their phone. However, I would say if you have a more entrepreneurial niche within the MSP space where there's more entrepreneurs, mobile becomes more popular. For example, like MSPs, this is a B2B sale, but MSPs are super entrepreneurial. They search stuff on their phone. It's all owners running it. I think if you've got like a B2B biotech, if you're trying to sell into that where it's a little bit more of a corporate setting, then you're going to be focusing more on that. And I just think in general, if you're doing the design of your website and you're taking it mobile, I think in general, you just want to focus on, hey, I've got this much information on the first screen on desktop. I want to somehow have that same information on the first screen in mobile. It's not always going to fit, but you want to try to get basically for each scroll that you do, you want to get the same information into that same area.
Great. Nate, what are you seeing this year that you hope dies next year as far as marketing trends? What are people going all in on that they could have gone in all in on 3 years ago, and now it's just time for it to go?
I don't know if I think the big thing I don't have anything it's time to go. I think the big thing that MSPs are jumping on the train on right now that I actually want to see them like maybe use more, just do it better is AI. And I think like a lot of people like, I need to be incorporating AI into everything. And so I'm trying to get in with private equity. If I just have this AI element of it, I'm going to double my valuation. And I do think adding AI is really smart. But I also think you just need to think of yourself as basically an AI operator. And it's not necessarily like you need to implement AI into every automation you have. I think it's more of you just need to maybe if you wrote a letter to somebody, throw it into ChatGPT and get a little bit of feedback on it. If you need an idea for a re-engagement campaign, ask ChatGPT to draft a couple ideas for you, but then actually go in and take the time to write it. And maybe I did make this mistake of I don't know, it was about 1 week. I must have spent 35 hours on ChatGPT alone, produced 9,000 pages of content. And I was like, I'm the man. This is like the most amazing thing ever. And at the end, like I looked back at it a month later, I'm like, actually, like all that content was weak and I'm going to have to redo it now. So I think maybe if you're going to leverage AI, become a great AI operator, but then also maybe our next big trend is like, reviewing our AI content and making sure that it's actually like getting a point across or accomplishing anything that we need.
I actually tried the AI feature on LinkedIn for the first time today. I wrote a post and I was like, that's clunky. And I like hit the button. It actually did write a better post than my original post, but it also had all of the bullet points that I wanted for the post in it. So I think you can't just take your hand off the wheel completely when it comes to AI and hope that it works out. You really do need to be present, training that. If you've got your private LLM models, you got to be training them. Like I want it to sound like I wrote it. And until I can do that, I will probably step back from using AI.
We did a big team meeting where it's like, guys, we are now all AI operators. And we've done a big thing internally. It's like, how are we integrating AI? We're not setting up some like AI webhook and all this type of stuff into our systems. What we're doing is we're training every single person on how to use it, how to write the prompts, how to get the feedback, how to do those things that you just described, because it's so powerful if you know how to do it. Let's do it and just keep it KISS principle. I think we all do that here. Let's just keep it simple. Let's get good at operating AI. And when we get great at it, then maybe we can start integrating it into our automations. But for now, I just think doing what you're doing of like, all right, let's get the bullet points out of this. Let's make my post a little better. So important.
I did the crucial website using ChatGPT. I asked it to write me a comic book based on a story that I imported into it. So it wrote me a comic book strip. Then I went to Leonardo AI and I had them had it create. And that's the lion's share of the work, convincing it over and over again to try and get that same character, that same look and feel to each image. That was the bulk of that. But it was a fun project and it took me a weekend. So
I tried to get that. I was just trying to do a meme, like an Elf on the Shelf meme, and I was trying to get them to Macho Man on a nacho chip. And oh my gosh, how many times I had to ask. I was like, Macho Man's got a beard. They're like,
they have a beard.
It's like, due to copyright infringement, we can only do an 80s wrestler without a beard. I'm like, just put a beard on him.
There's lots that you can DIY when it comes to websites, but most things are best left to professionals. So I think if you've got some questions about how to make your website work better, a conversation with Nate at TechPro Marketing. Thank you for joining us today, Nate.
You've been listening to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? We're so glad you've joined us and know you're one step closer to winning big in your business too. We'd love to connect with you outside of the show. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to connect@rnr.consulting. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so you'll easily know when new episodes are available. Until next time, you can win, and we're here to help.